When I was first arrested, I was 10 years old. I was teased a lot, and one day I ended up getting into a fight. So I was charged with aggravated assault as a 10-year-old, and I had 2 years probation with anger management counseling.
Mass incarceration, by definition, is the extreme rate of imprisonment among young African Americans living in disadvantaged neighborhoods. Although many disagree on the proper meaning of the term, the proof is in the statistics. Young minorities are 30 times more likely to be imprisoned than their white counterpart. About 60% of Black Americans know someone who has gone through the criminal justice system. The state of New Jersey is ranked first for a disproportionate ratio of incarcerated minorities.
So 10, I got aggravated assault, got into a fight. Had no problem putting me on probation. It was morally shocking to criminals that I was on probation. So this is an easy way to dehumanize you, because now they no longer see me as a 10-year-old child that got into a fight. Now I'm a number. Now I am parolee or probationer. And the same thing happens once you reach youth prison. So you get like a federal number, or you get your federal state number, and you're just a number, da-da-da-da-da. People aren't realizing that these are children. It's not like they're in this, youth program that they show on movies where everybody's playing football and it's just kind of like a dormitory environment. No, they're in prisons with bars and locked doors and officers who mace them and beat them with batons and react to them the way they react to any murderer.
In the state of New Jersey, they're quick to arrest you for anything and send you to jail. There's usually not the, come get your child, he's committed a crime. They send you to youth detention centers or whatever. And once you go to these places, you realize that it's much like your elementary school that you go to. There's security guards, there's bars on the windows. So it's kind of like being at home or being at school. When you're constantly trapped in your own neighborhood and you're constantly feeling as a prisoner in your own neighborhood, there's not much of a deterrent to keep an individual or a child from coming back and forth or doing the things that would bring him back and forth to a correctional facility. If I could fix the criminal justice system, someone would check into this person, his history, his or her history. What is their home life like? What was their education like? Were they ever abused? Are there any mental issues? And I would take all these things, I would think that all these things should be taken into consideration when not just sentencing a person, but in dealing with this person, whether he should actually even have any prison time, he or she or not. What should be done while they are incarcerated if they are to do some prison time. There needs to be a sense of humanization brought back to the individuals who are incarcerated. Because while incarcerated, it's a space in which one of the first things they do is they dehumanize you. A person needs to feel that he is human in order to act as a human.
The issue goes much deeper than the systemic barriers put up by law enforcement. Dehumanization is common among those who have been incarcerated. The public puts a label on these people, as if to say they're not as valuable as everybody else. It's nearly impossible for them to live a normal life after their sentence is finished. Re-entering society can be a challenging process when the recidivism rate is 70%. When you're living with a label on your back at all times, it's that much harder to get assistance to re-enter society.
Here in the U.S., we say that we're a nation of second chances, but is that really true? Because we know that there are systemic barriers put in place for individuals that are incarcerated. Right now, the U.S. incarcerates a quarter of the world's incarcerated population. So we believe that caging, whether it be children or adults, is the best way to keep our community safe, as opposed to rehabilitating these individuals. And that's a practice that you see in other countries, because they realize that these people still are a part of that country. We pretty much erase all their opportunity once they go into the system, because that stigma of being a system-involved individual, whether you're youth or an adult, will stay with you for the rest of your life.
Once you return to society with this background or with this mark as a formerly incarcerated, it's very difficult to seek employment. And within prison, especially in the United States, we're not properly or adequately educated or prepared to reintegrate into society. So this impacts society greatly, and it literally creates an underclass society that can no longer have any social or economic mobility.
There's a concept called moral geographies, which says that certain things, ideals, and people belong in certain spaces and places. And I take that concept and it just helps me understand that a lot of times we were taught to believe where we're supposed to be and the things we are supposed to do. And not even realizing consciously that this is what's happening, you buy into it, and then you start to act these ways and you start to continue to be these ways. And also believe that you don't supposed to be in certain spaces, that I'm not supposed to be in Rutgers, Camden.
The system can reinforce incarcerated youth to believe they're not as human as those who aren't in the system. But where does this establishment of power come from? Who are the targets of state power?
The focal point is a racial injustice practice, how the system is identifying boys and girls of color and incarcerating them at a much higher rate as opposed to their white counterparts. When you say what types of crimes that they're committing, that's kind of a moot point because data shows that children in both races commit crimes at almost approximately the same rate. So it's not the types of crimes that they're committing, because a kid that smokes marijuana in the suburbs is just no different than a kid that smokes marijuana in the city. But the kid in the city goes to jail for it. The kid in the suburbs goes to substance abuse. So there's a way that the system is being utilized, not proportionately. Right now, just for youth prisons, the state of New Jersey spends $60 million on youth prisons as opposed to $8 million on community-based programs. The average cost to incarcerate a youth here in the state of New Jersey is roughly $305,000 a year. So if we can make that kind of investment to incarcerate them, why can't we make that kind of investment to rehabilitate them? Why can't we make that kind of investment to rehabilitate those communities, to rehabilitate that family? So we have the money, but we're using it to diminish people's promise and possibility instead of enabling and multiplying their promise and possibilities.
Although financial assistance from the state is lacking, there are programs aimed at these young incarcerates to give them the educational resources needed to earn a degree.
There's a college program in the prison systems in New Jersey right now called NJ STEP. And what it is college professors from different colleges, Rutgers, Princeton, Mercer County, different colleges, they come into the prison systems and they teach college classes.
So NJ STEP did something that was very revolutionary in terms of education within the prison system. You can actually gain an associate's degree within 2 years, a bachelor's within 4 years, and a master's, if you end up having to do an extended sentence. The way that impacts a lot of prisoners is, one, the obvious thing, that it reduces recidivism as well as misbehavior within the prison system. So education really opened up a lot of doors for me to mentally cope with my situation.
NJ STEP is a step in the right direction to aid incarcerates with the right resources while giving them a sense of mental freedom. But there's more that can be done.
We need to have individuals pressure and speak to their legislative and community leaders about this. Once you're educated on this issue, you can no longer turn a blind eye to it. And then we need the communities to be a part of this rehabilitative process and not ostracize these individuals, not act like they don't exist. We need to see them as members of this community that still have value, that still have promise.
I know people who've been in my shoes and been in my position, and once they left and were able to uplift themselves out of my position to a point where they can blend into society, they kind of turn their eye on the things that are still going on. And we cannot continue to have that happen. We need more people that are going to assist us in integrating people back into society, that's offering them employment.
A child that has a system-involved parent has a higher probability of being system-involved themselves. So this isn't about the individual, it's about multiplying and having ripples that far exceed, the individual person that we're working with. So this is a generational change campaign. It's not just about this particular moment in time.
The systems that are in place that are causing the oppression are extremely organized, and we aren't. We're very disorganized. We're divide and conquer. I'm about making change in history as much as I can. I don't have to live to see my vision come true. Like, I'm very much okay with just being a piece of the puzzle. I encourage you to not only spread awareness, but to get involved in any way you can to your best ability. As long as you don't, people will continue to suffer, and it's not because a lot of bad people are running things. It's because a lot of structures are placing us into these roles and positions in society, and we're going to continue to react as we think we should be reacting. But we are capable of challenging these values and realities that we're actually living in.
The state of New Jersey has a long way to go to solve the incarceration issue that works to put more minorities in prison for their financially driven agendas. The fight is ongoing, but an impact from advocates can be felt. The system will grow stronger unless the community makes an effort to help with re-entry, education, social outreach, and most importantly, to view these individuals as human beings.